Okay, last video for the summative review here, all right? And this is an application problem, right? So when we look at problems like this, I think it's really helpful to like get a picture in your head of what's actually happening. Don't just look at the words and freak out and say, "Oh, I can't do this. It's a word problem. Oh, I hate word problems." Well, I get it, but all problems in life are word problems. All of the projects I got to do around my house involve me interpreting the situation through words, basically. Even if they're just spoken words, they're still words, and you have to be able to take that and quantify things and know, okay, what's my process? What do I have to do first? You have to make decisions. And guess what? You guys already do this. You do this all the time. So when you have a problem like this, just try to put yourself in the case of what if I actually had to figure this out? What if I actually had to do this and I was forced to solve this? And in that case, you'd probably have a different attitude about it and wouldn't feel so helpless. All right. So that's my little pep talk for you. And so let's go through this. All right. So Jen throws a ball up from a height of 6 feet off the ground with an initial velocity of 20 feet per second. Probably meaning that her arm is 6 feet off the ground when she lets go of the ball. And 20 feet per second means that every second the ball travels 20 feet. Okay, and she's throwing the ball. Okay, so now they don't say if she throws it straight in the air or if she throws it whatever. So we're going to assume that here's Jen, all right, and then Jen is decides to throw the ball, right? And this is where she releases the ball, okay? And the ball is, we know she is on the ground, and the ball is 6 feet up, okay? And then the ball goes, right? And then eventually falls and hits the ground, okay? So it doesn't matter, like if I do it far enough, maybe it landed way over here, maybe she, didn't throw it well and it went here, right? But this is the height of the ball. This describes it. Now, this is supposed to look kind of like a parabolic trajectory, which it sort of does, right? And I know it's a negative A term because if you remember this from the last unit, when it's negative, that means it opens downwards, right? And then the rest of this just kind of models this particular equation. So what we want to find, it says, how long is the ball in the air? They're basically saying, so at this time, right here, right, this is your time of 0, right? That's 0 seconds is when you release the ball. And then this time right here, all right, is what we want to find. That's how long the ball's been in the air, right? From here to here. So that means if I find this, that will tell me how long the ball was in the air because it started at 0. So if it starts at 0 and it lands at like 10, like she threw it like a mile or whatever, right? Then that means that it was in the air 10 seconds, okay? So basically what they're asking us to do is they're asking us to find the root, right? Find the roots of the equation, okay? And we want this root right here, okay? There's going to be 2 roots, more than likely, right? And we want the one that's going to make sense, that's going to be positive, right? Otherwise, the second root's going to be a negative number, and that's going to be, weird, right? Because it's not going to be a negative time, okay? So we want to find the positive root to this, okay? And we're going to use the tools we have to do this. So in order to do this, okay, we are going to give ourselves a little room here. We're going to write our equation out. We're going to say negative 16t squared plus 20t plus 6. And in order to find the roots, I have to set this equal to 0. All right, now, what do I know how to do? Well, I know that it's going to be a lot easier for me if I get rid of some of these numbers, okay? And then maybe we can try to factor it, and if we can't factor it, we can try completing the square. So let's get rid of the negative sign, and let's get rid of, we can pull a factor of 2 out of this whole thing. So let's divide this whole thing by negative 2, all right? And so when I do that, that gives me 8t squared minus 10t minus 3 equals 0. So now the first thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do this with the AC method because that's a lot easier than completing the square, right? And if it works, we'll be happy. So the AC method means we're going to multiply my A times my C. All right, we're going to put A in here and we're going to put C in here. My A is 8, right? And my C is -3, all right? And so that is going to give me -24. And so now what I want to find is I want to see, are there two factors of -24 that add up to -10, right? So they have to add to -10. All right, they're going to multiply to get to -24 and add to -10. Well, guess what? We're in luck because we know one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative, right? Because we have a negative result. And we can use -12 and 2, right? -12 and 2. If you think of all the factors in -24, right? So if we go through all this, we got 1, -24. We got -1, +24. We got 2, -12. We have -2, 12, right? Okay, we have 3, -8, -3, 8, and then we wrap up with 4 and 6, and 4, -6, and then -4 and 6, right? And so this adds to -2, this adds to 2, this adds to 5, -5, this adds to 10, -10, and we want that one. So that's where I came up with that, right? It's these two. So now we are going to decompose this, right? So we are going to go 8t squared. We're going to bust up this term right here, this -10t, into these factors, right? So we're going to go -12t plus 2t minus 3 equals 0. Now, factor by grouping. So I can pull a 4 out of both of these, and I can also pull a t out. And that's going to give me t minus 3, okay? 4t, or sorry, 2t. Let me rewrite that, all right? Sloppy stuff, Simons. All right, so we've got 4t, which is 2t, because 2 times 4 is 8, t times t squared. So I'm glad I was multiplying while I was doing it and checking my work. And I want to get 2t minus 3 out of this side here. And I can by just multiplying this by 1, right? 1 times 2t is 2t, 1 times -3 is -3, equals 0. All right, finish by pulling your 2t minus 3 out of both. And then put your leftovers, which is this and this, in here. And now use your 0 product property. So we have 2t minus 3 equals 0, and we have 4t plus 1 equals 0. Well, my two solutions, right? First one, we're going to add 3 to both sides, and that's going to give me 2t equals 3, divide by 2, and you get t is equal to 3/2, which is 1.5. Okay, this one, we're going to do the same kind of process. Get 4t is equal to -1, divide by 4. You get t is equal to -1/4. Well, I don't know what just happened there. That was really strange, right? Well, if it's -1/4, that doesn't make sense at all to what they're asking us. So our solution has to be this. And so our final answer, and I'm going to write it, is going to be the ball is in the air for 1.5 seconds. Okay? And that is your answer. All right? So we were able to do this one through factoring. On the summative, you may get one where you have to use completing the square. Okay? But in either case, it's going to be kind of the same thing. You're just using the tools that you should have in your toolbox now to solve this. All right. So good luck with everything, and I'd like to see you guys really crush it on this. All right. So we'll see you later.